The modern interpretation of zombies was most directly influenced by George Romero and his various movies, beginning with Night of the Living Dead in 1968. Romero never called his living dead zombies. Instead, he referred to them as ghouls. The word ghoul is of Arabic origin. It is defined by Merriam-Webster as a legendary evil being that robs graves and feeds on corpses. Kind of opposite of a zombie, isn't it? A sampling of other Arabic words used in English include cotton, giraffe, coffee, spinach, candy, sugar, and alcohol. Although there are many opinions of the number of types of sugar, according to the Sugar Association there are 13 separated into 3 groups. White, 7 of those, brown, 4 of those, and liquid, 2 of those. Hey, subscribe to our channel and you will be most smartest. The most common theory regarding why the number 13 is deemed unlucky is based upon biblical Christianity and the Last Supper. When Jesus and his 12 disciples gathered for this meal, Judas is believed to have been the 13th guest. Seating arrangements have been suspect since, and the name Judas has not done so well either. It turns out that supper and dinner really are not the same thing. Merriam-Webster defines dinner as the principal larger meal served midday. However, supper is defined as a light meal served late in the evening. Whatever happened to lunch? Noah Webster's original dictionary took him 22 years to complete, not because he was slow, but he had also taught himself 26 languages while writing the dictionary. Kind of an overachiever. Today's most smartest question. According to Haitian folklore, what would you feed to a zombie to cure them and restore them to the grave? Salt, another zombie, a live fish, or rose petals. What else took 22 years? Building the Taj Mahal. Construction began in 1632 and finished in 1653, costing an inflation-adjusted $1 billion. $1 billion is also the cost of filming James Cameron's 4 not-yet-released Avatar sequels, an average of $250 million per film. James Cameron has also been a passionate explorer of the Titanic wreckage since he made the film. It has been well recorded that there were 713 survivors of this tragedy. However, what is less known is that 3 of those survivors were dogs, a Pekingese and 2 Pomeranians. Speaking of Pekingese, this breed of dogs has been traced back 2,000 years to the Han Dynasty in China. Oddly, the Han Empire and the Roman Empire not only existed at the same time, but were remarkably similar in size and population. According to a census in 2 AD, there were about 57 million people in the Han Empire, and there were about 55 million in the Roman Empire in 14 AD. In the Roman Empire, if a person wished to commit suicide, that person had to apply to the Senate, and if their petition was approved, they were given free hemlock to complete the task. Poison hemlock is easily confused with fennel, parsley, and wild carrot due to the similarity in appearance of the 4 plants. The Greek name for fennel is Marathon. The location of the famous Battle of Marathon in 490 BC literally means a plain with fennel. Marathon Key in the Florida Keys is home to the Turtle Hospital. Opened in 1986, it is the only veterinary hospital in the world dedicated to the treatment of sea turtles. Sea turtles can live 100 years, which is also approximately the number of eggs female sea turtles lay when they nest. Only around 1 in every 1,000 sea turtle hatchlings will survive to adulthood. The 1 in 1,000 Society was founded in July 1992 by Ronald K. Hoeflin, PhD. Oaths is an international high IQ society. Minimum scores on various tests are required to confirm that potential members are at the 99.9th percentile of intelligence. If you are at the 99.9 percentile income level in the United States, then you make well over $2 million a year. Recently, Wharf Holdings Limited in Hong Kong rented out one of the luxury homes that they own for $2 million a year. The television cartoon character Hong Kong Phooey, also known as Penrod Pooch, was voiced by the talented Scatman Crothers. Scatman Crothers, well known for his role in the movie The Shining, won his breakout role of Scat Cat in Disney's The Aristocats because Louis Armstrong was too sick to accept the role. Louis Armstrong is widely remembered for his ballad, What a Wonderful World, recorded in 1967, just 4 years before his death. The song flopped upon its initial release. Mr. Armstrong never saw the success of his song. Other songs you may know that did not perform well when first released: Layla by Derek and the Dominos, AC/DC's Highway to Hell, Simon and Garfunkel's The Sound of Silence, Elton John's Candle in the Wind, Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody, and Little Red Corvette from Prince. It is estimated that Prince left over 8,000 unreleased recordings in his musical vault when he passed away on April 21, 2016. His estate is planning to release them over time. Around 8,000 people crossed into Rwanda from the Democratic Republic of Congo to seek refuge following the eruption of the Mount Nyiragongo volcano on Saturday, May 22, 2021. Since 1882, Mount Nyiragongo has erupted 34 times. During the eruption in 1977, the walls around the lake of lava cracked and the entire bowl of lava drained in less than an hour, flowing down the slopes of the volcano at 60 miles per hour. Bats can fly at speeds of 60 miles per hour and live for more than 30 years. It was the 1897 release of Bram Stoker's Dracula that solidified a relationship between vampires and bats in Western culture. Vampire bats can feed on almost any type of animal, and humans are not their first choice for a meal. Also, vampires are not zombies. Although Bram Stoker was a prolific writer, having written many novels over a 20-year span, he actually studied mathematics in college. Unfortunately, his death on April 20, 1912, was all but ignored by newspapers as they were busy with continuing coverage of the sinking of the Titanic 6 days earlier. Many world events have occurred on April 20th. American race car driver Danica Patrick became the first woman to win an IndyCar championship event. Navin Field, later called Tiger Stadium in Detroit, and Fenway Park in Boston officially opened as both hosted their first professional baseball games. And in 2010, an explosion occurred on the Deepwater Horizon oil rig located in the Gulf of Mexico. Notable birthdays on this day include German dictator Adolf Hitler, actress Jessica Lange, actor Shamar Moore, actress Carmen Electra, singer Luther Vandross, and my wife. I had to fit that in there. Speaking of tigers, the new Army of the Dead movie has a zombie tiger. That sounds like the stuff of nightmares, but I still think a zombie dragon is worse. In the original NES Final Fantasy video game, Zombie Dragon, also known as Zombie D, has 268 hit points. 268 is the area code of the Caribbean wonderland of Antigua, Barbuda, and Redonda, which is a 1 square mile nature reserve. Famous people who live or owned homes on the island of Antigua include Oprah Winfrey, fashion designer Giorgio Armani, Richard Branson, founder of Virgin Atlantic, and musician Eric Clapton, who built a drug and rehabilitation center on the island. Richard Branson faced being dyslexic all through his early education and to this day. He is a wonderful example of what can be accomplished regardless. Other dyslexics include astronomer and space scientist Maggie Adarin Pocock, actor Orlando Bloom, actor Tom Cruise, Leonardo da Vinci, Walt Disney, actor Jim Carrey, Albert Einstein, actress Whoopi Goldberg, actress Keira Knightley, musician John Lennon, celebrity chef Jamie Oliver, artist Pablo Picasso, Steven Spielberg, and my youngest daughter, Evangelina. Go Evie! In 1974, John Lennon, a self-proclaimed UFO enthusiast, claimed to have seen one from the balcony of his then-girlfriend's apartment. Title 14, Section 1211 of the Code of Federal Regulations, implemented on July 16, 1969, makes it illegal for U.S. citizens to have any contact with UFOs or the extraterrestrials that may be controlling them. Also on July 16, 1969, NASA launched Apollo 11 from the Kennedy Space Center. The rocket was carrying astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins on a mission to safely land on the moon and return to Earth as President Kennedy had committed. Who was the first president to install a taping system in the Oval Office to record his private White House conversations? JFK did so in 1962. He installed a taping system in the cabinet room as well. Recordings were sent to a reel-to-reel tape recorder in the White House basement. Other things in the White House basement include the Situation Room, where the president meets his advisors during a crisis, a flower shop, a carpenter's shop, and a dental office so the president doesn't have to leave the building to get a filling. There's also a bowling alley installed by President Nixon in 1969. Although even earlier than that, bowling lanes were built in the west wing of the White House for President Truman. How old is the game of bowling? No one knows exactly. However, Sir Flinders Petrie, a British anthropologist, found some objects in a child's grave in Egypt that looked to be an early form of bowling. If his theory is correct, that would mean that bowling existed back in 3200 BC. The first use of the wheel for transportation was on Mesopotamian chariots in 3200 BC. Mesopotamia was a large region located in modern-day Iraq and parts of Turkey and Syria. Mesopotamians were the first people to understand the concept of zero and to start experimenting with mathematics. More fun mathematics facts? The statement 11 plus 2 is an anagram of 12 plus 1, which is pretty fitting as the answer to both equations is 13. Also, there are 13 letters in both 11 plus 2 and 12 plus 1. And today's most smartest answer: according to Haitian folklore, what would you feed to a zombie to cure them and restore them to the grave? Salt. Salt will apparently cause the zombies to return to their grave for their final death. Although the number 13 is considered unlucky, most cultures throughout the world send their children to kindergarten through 12th grade, 13 years. Talk about unlucky. In 2011, an 8.9 magnitude earthquake, one of the strongest ever recorded, rocked Japan. It triggered a tsunami with 30-foot waves that traveled more than 3 miles inland and caused a meltdown at a nuclear power plant. More than 15,000 people lost their lives. Remember, most smartest people leave suggestions for topics below in the comments section. Also in 2011, a combination of unusual and severe weather events occurred in the United States that in total caused the country $35 billion in damages and killed more than 700 people. Numerous tornadoes, flooding, a drought, and a blizzard all combined to cripple regions of the United States. On April 27th, more than 300 tornadoes, 4 of those reaching the highest level on the tornado severity scale, ripped through the southeast, leveling whole towns and killing 321 people. A month later, on May 22nd, another level 5 tornado in Joplin, Missouri wiped out the town and killed 158 people. Add to that a devastating winter blizzard in the Midwest, Hurricane Irene on the East Coast, and a massive drought across the South, and 2011 becomes one of the worst years for natural disaster in the United States history. Again, also in 2011, perhaps in part due to the level of natural disasters, the U.S. government drafted Con Plan 8888-11, a real plan detailing a strategy to defend against an attack by zombies.